Good morning. Thanks for joining. Today on the show, I can do several things. I can finish an engine, or I can work on the plumbus, or I can change a capacitor on my Mark V. My Mark V, I need a new. I smelled the capacitor blow. It blew my circuit. I know lots about replacing capacitors. I've replaced tons and tons and tons of capacitors on motors. An electric motor usually lasts forever. It's usually the capacitor that blows on them. I'm going to do that and make a gasket and tap it to, let's tap a gasket. Let's tap something just for the heck of it. Why not? Got the drill just sitting here. And I'll start beginning to work and wait for some questions to show. 3/16. It's a good tool to always have. Keep it in your pocket. Not really. But what it will do is tell you fractions, millimeters, and inches. So let's map our thing. We are 47.88 that away. The outside of the hole we are. Inside we are 47. Outside 57.13. So let's map that. First we will go to the distance. 48.2. So just take your gasket like that and set it like that and put it on the middle and mark it with an ink pen if you can find one. I know how difficult that can be some days. Quite a commotion on Facebook about me using a gasket on a billet case. It's pretty funny because, you know, with a billet case, wait till they see me do it on a China doll and on the base gasket and the head gasket. That should cause a commotion for sure. Let's see our distance on this. 3.97, 4 millimeters. So I know what that is. Just hit the fraction button. Mode, fraction, 5/32. That's what 4 millimeters is 5/32, if you ever wanted to know that. This is the bent bit. Not the one I'm looking for. Isn't that funny? Isn't that like a... It reminds me of an elephant for some reason. I have no clue why that reminds me of an elephant. Maybe it looks like an elephant. Maybe. Hate how bent this one is. Not perfect. I hate not perfect. Hated it. That's already big enough. Those are M6s already. Wow. Huh. Ooh, that's nice. Just tapping out to quarters. Just get a little grease in there. Silicone. Number 3. 3-in-1. What 3-in-1 means is it's penetrating, lubricating, and rust preventing. Never rust one. I'm making sure that's a 6 first, and not. Yep, that's a 6. 6 is fine. I could have used a 6. I like that it's a 6. Tapping it makes tapping out the quarters real easy. Everybody's all like, I have a stripped M6 head. What should I do, Brad? Tap out. Tap out. Tap out. M6 to tap out to a quarter or 5/16. First tap it to quarter, and then if the quarter doesn't seat, not biting into any threads, then tap it to 5/16. Pretty simple stuff, right? Why do I like quarters more? The thread's coarse. Coarse thread. The softer the metal, the coarser your thread should be. The harder the metal, the finer your thread should be. So on steel, you would use the roughest. The difference between quarter and M6 is 1/4 20 coarse is the threads are about spread out twice as thick as a M6. You can just compare the 2 threads right there. There's your 2 threads. M6 is a fine thread for hard metals. Then why did they make it like that, Brad? Well, because guys that engineer don't really usually work with screws and bolts and nuts every day. They're never doing that. A little shot. One more shot of silicones. 3-in-1. It's pretty nice. It's tapped out to M6 though. Lots of people love M6. Just more of a metric. I like American. I know American bolts and nuts are usually held to higher standards than Chinese bolts. Even though they're made for us in China, we ask for higher standards. Whether we get them as a farce. Okay, let's do this now. We'll zero the fraction out. from here to here, we are 1 inch and 30 seconds. So we'll come over to the middle of the gasket and mark it. With a ink pen or pencil. This wants to be a little. 10 minutes into the show. Okay, we'll make a mark here. We'll make a mark here. Find the center here. Let's go to millimeters. 0 it. Here, basically 41.78, so 21 millimeters. Going to be our center. We'll come up here and mark a center mark. Actually, it's a little lower than that. It's right there. Come over here and mark our center marks. Right there. Make our circle right here. Make our circle right there. Pop a couple holes. Throw a couple screws in it and call it done for a gasket. And trim it down. And cut the square out. There's one hole cut. Go like that. And let's see if I hit the other one too. Oh, let's see how close I came. Bam! Ta-da! Okay. And that's our gasket. Let's do our square now. This is just mapping a 7.56 on this side. Nothing special here. On this mark. So then we, and of course it won't right on the metal. See, this is why I'm wearing a lab coat. I want to put, like, you know, pencils and pens and stuff that glues every day, you know, onto my lab coat. It's not just a YouTube gimmick. Also, there's a point to my shenanigans someday. Okay, there's those two marks, and then we go off of the little pattern. Our height is 13 millimeters, so one more. Let's go one more up, and then mark the little squares, go across, and see how the little dots are already there for us. There we go. Let's cut it. Just going to follow those little dots right there. Here's my clamping wood dog bench. And what do we always use? That's right. Tappa, tappa, tappa. H2O USA brass cap. And then we put it on our marks right there and try and get it all lined up with the little holes. And bam, that's it. One more. Bam. And then down here. Bam it down here. And over here on the marks. And then down here on the marks. It's really bouncing. I got to use the concrete. Flatten it out. There we go. And I need to sharpen it. A little smaller chisel would be ideal. But there's our gasket. Nothing to it, right, guys? No reason to rage. Just a simple gasket cut. You just bend it back and forth until it breaks. Just like that. If the paper's holding on, you gotta cut it with the scissors. Let's see how close I got. Definitely an up and a down. But yeah, there we go. Here's your gasket. I like the paper side to there. Put a couple screws in. I think I can get away with giant ones. These 7/8, maybe. Try the 7/8 first. I could even use 1 inch. Aluminum capped screw. There we go. Let's trim it up. This stuff is horrible on your supers. It's like way bad. I'm just getting some marks of the angles it goes. There we go. Snippy, snippy. And snippy, snippy over here. Bink. And that's my gasket. Clean it up right there. But there's my gasket right there. One gasket made. 20 minutes into the show, one gasket. Faster than running to the store, though, and buying a gasket. You can also cut them with these. You can cut this. Cut this on the paper. Anybody want to see me cut one of these? Or cut a... This is where I think the paper is going to be superior. Is cutting base gaskets. I think a sticker base gasket is going to outperform the regular base gasket we're putting on the China dolls now. For sure. Let's talk about modding a carburetor. This carburetor is made for a large saw, but I kind of like to put it like right there. You know, just fucking mount it right fucking there. What do you guys think? Personally, like if this was like this and this didn't have that stupid fucking hole, but I can cut another plate, aluminum plate, to go right here. I'd kind of like to put one got that like that. Okay, let's look at this shit. See if it's possible or not. Okay, got our billet case right here. This was like this. Is it possible? No. Is it possible like this? Yeah. Impossible like that? Nope. So it has to go like that, and it has to be built out. So it does need this the cooling plate. So yes, it'll need a cooling plate, and then like that. That's kind of like what I would like to make. Something like this, and the impulse would feed. The impulse supposed to feed after the read. So you would have to take this tiny little pinhole and get it on the other side of the reed. That's the clutch. Best way would be like right there, I think. But I can always do a line and go to the bottom of the case and tap it at the bottom. I'd rather get it closer to the piston movement, but well, that's that. Any questions? Question time? Anybody? Question? No questions at all on the billet case. No. What's up, Dread? Yo, yo. Teach us how to bore without a machine. What do you want to bore? A cylinder? What do you want to bore? But I'm going to go look at a brand new or a used lathe today, to tell you the truth, guys. I'm going to look at a lathe for $200, and I'm probably going to catch so much shit if I buy it. But I want a lathe really bad. And I believe I have a Mach 5, and that's a Mach 6 or a Mach 7. It's definitely not the Mach 4. The Mach 4 is in the 40s. And the Mach 5's predecessor builder, his grandfather, and I think it was his grandfather, and she's still, the widow, lives in Ohio and still carries on. I think she's super old. The crankcase. Okay, well, let's get out of crankcase and talk. I want to do this. You have a Dremel at least. Let's grab a crankcase. Here's a crankcase. Let's say I don't have any other tools, and I want to do something with this crankcase. Your Dremel, man. Your Dremel's your number one. Take that Dremel. Well, what do you want to do? You want to match the ports. You want to match this opening to the opening on your cylinder, whatever it may be. That's called port matching. This is case transfer port matching. What you do not want to do is fuck with your angle right there. That angle is important right there. What that does is it tries to make the gas flow in the right direction. I've seen people widen it out, and I've seen their flow go crazy. I've done that before too. The first thing I did, I made this giant. I was like, oh, I'm going to get all this fuel. And I made all this giant. And I made this giant. And it didn't run well. It really didn't. And I was pretty disappointed. But it was a great lesson for me about, it was the first thing I learned about the flow and how you can really fuck it up really easy just with, simple Dremel. But what I say you want to do, I'm assuming you have a China doll. I'll show you what to do on the case. Here's your basic China doll with the RSE reading. Okay. Here is my round port. Lots of people want you to make a giant exhaust port. I'm not too big on that because I like to use a big carburetor. And the bigger you make this hole, the less suction you're going to get out of your engine. So I tend to just smooth it out. They sell, they call them, what are they? They're cylinder brushes, but they also sell them for pipes. The plumbers use them on the job site. A few other guys use them on the sub site, but it's for cleaning out pipes, drain out, and it will shine that up to perfect cleanness. You want to make a good gasket. This is a gasket that I use. Everybody's like, you want that Highlander Forester crap. Do this with any gasket. If you can't bend it like that, don't use it. If it snaps when you go like that, don't use it. If it's like hard like a metal and won't bend, don't use it. Worthless. You want your, here is the chainsaw one, and I'm going to bend it. That's okay, see? It's got a lead in it. I like the American Valramic 3009. But back to getting to your crankcase question. There we go. Here's our crank. And here's the shape. If you put that on there, you will notice half of your port's gone. Well, why is that, Brad? Because they're horrible. See how it should be all the way out here? See that, guys? See how much you're losing of your transfer when you stick it up there. You're losing a ton of room. How much room do you need here? If you look at a racer's engine, if they'll ever let you, they'll show you that they thin these down as thin as they possibly can to enlarge the port. Because if you notice, let me show you something. A lot of people don't realize this, but your transfer opening is over 10 millimeters. This right here, from here to here, is 8 millimeters. You're losing 2 millimeters right there at your widest point. You're this right here, from the longest point down, from here to here, is 22.87 millimeters, almost 23. You measure this down to here and here, you have to remove at least 2 millimeters on that to port match that piece right there. And you could use files, but this is what I suggest. Every beginner start with a good Dremel, and don't buy this piece of, don't buy this from Harbor Freight. Don't do it. Just don't buy this from Harbor Freight. Do not buy this from Harbor Freight. Save your money. If you're broke, buy a used one. Go on. This is the Dremel 4000, 4000, 5000, 3200. All these are good models. Why don't you want the cheap model? Well, for one, it doesn't have the button, and it doesn't have. You want this chuck. You want the chuck that will change different sizes, and you can use the 3 millimeter and you can use the 3/16. So you can use a CNC 3/16 bit, or you can use a quarter. No, this one you can't use the quarter. To use the quarter, you use the die grinder. This is your die grinder. I leave it locked open because I hold it turned on all the time. I can cut an engine in half with one of these. This is when I need to do it fast. I need to remove a ton of material. The Dremel is, I'm a hobby. I want to hobbyist this thing. I want to take it slow. I want to take off little tiny bits. And to really work a Dremel, I'd suggest you get a piece of aluminum, like a piece of scrap aluminum, right? And learn how to pull on it and to know what's too much pressure, what's a lot of pressure. The slower you go, the more pressure. The higher you go, the less pressure. This is your friend, though. This can change your engine drastically. Everybody asks me, what's the best upgrade I can do for my engine? Buy a Dremel. Buy a Dremel and use it. Where do you want to use it? Everywhere. This is your negotiator. Something doesn't fit, this will fix it. The hole's not big enough, this will fix it. The ports don't match, this will fix it. I use this in a hobby, and it's really not a tool that I would use on the job site because it's a hobbyist tool. It's for a hobby, but it's great for our hobby. It is so. You want one of these, Dredd. You want a Dremel. This is the brand you want. You want a Dremel. You don't want a generic Dremel. You want a Dremel made by the Dremel company, and you want the better chuck. So when you buy one, look around for the chuck. I buy these used. Most of my tools, I go on Facebook, I go to the marketplace, and I buy used tools. A lot of them. And I get in trouble for it. But yes, that's how you port a case. And to put the reed on, you want to put the reed on and blow, right? But you want to make sure that it's not going to restrict. Like this one's not restricting at all. How did I do that with an RSC reed? Well, I widened with my Dremel here and here so it can open fully. And this is the only way I got an RSC reed to work properly. I could never get them to work properly until I figured out that the reed wasn't opening fully because the cylinder's too small up and down for the thing to fit in. And how a lot of people fixed it is they put a spacer in between there and then let the reed sit in the spacer. A lot of people thought that it was the heat from the piston that was fucking up their reeds. I believe it was the reeds weren't opening fully. Hey, anything that moves channel. All right. I love that channel. I've never watched it, but I love it anyway. Thank you for joining. I'll take a thumbs up, guys. Come on, man. I explained case cutting. I explained all that. I hope good enough for everybody that they can try it at home. Here is your basic reed box for an RSC. And a lot of people use them for other things other than the reed because the Oz reed is so much better than this. Why is this so bad? Because the reeds don't open fully and it doesn't have a chamber for the reeds. The reeds pop out. Why do I like the Oz reed? Because it is a lot simpler reed than this. The Oz reed is for the hobbyist. It's not for the racer. That's somebody trying to race. That's somebody trying to win a race. That is not a daily at all. Stainless steel reeds. If somebody's running reeds as a daily, they're a badass. They're a badass because that thing is a lot of work keeping running compared to a daily. A daily is something that I build to ride daily, to ride every day. I want dependability and nothing else. Dependability, no pedaling, that's a daily. And a cylinder that doesn't have to be opened all the time, that you can run a good 1,000 miles on it before you have to rebuild it. And that's a good daily. I like the 400 as a daily. I really do. Any other questions, Will or Dread? Or Dread? No Will this morning. He's busy. Twiddling, 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 twiddling. Ha ha! Cool story. Yes, tell a cool story. Okay. Huh. How I got into building this. The TS400. Here's a story for you. Everybody said if they could have $1 for everybody that told them they could build this cylinder, they'd be a rich man. Well, I bet them. I was like, I'll bet you $1 I can build this. And I had Kurt take a bet with me. So I built it. Took 4 months. I had zero information. I had people that fought me every day, tooth and nail, to try and get me not to build it. I had haters that would send me hate mail. It was a lot of fun. but I built it anyway. And I made my own variations. I made mine without crosstalk. He went straight to a reed. I repaired the crosstalk on mine. I invented a way to cut the squishy deeper. I was going to grab it and show it off, but oh well, it's not there. I did that. I invented a way to take down the cylinder. Of course. And all that.
8:47 in the morning.
That's what time it is. Thank you.